Hello Agency Go family, I wanted to make this follow-up video to my previous video talking to you about how you can take a sales rep, any sales rep, and ramp them up to $1 million in production and actually transition them from being a BDR and transitioning them into a closer, or how you can just start someone off as a closer and ramp them up. So essentially, what you want to do if you're an agency owner is you want to find people who actually know how to close agency deals. Now, this is something a lot of people make mistakes on. I hate taking people who don't know anything about marketing and training them to become closers. Frankly, I think it's possible, it can be done, but I've wasted a lot of time and energy trying to train people on something where you might have somebody who already has previous experience closing marketing deals and getting them to actually come and close for you. That's a whole different story. So what I tend to do is I try to find very motivated people who already have a background in sales and marketing. The thing is, nowadays, that's actually easier than ever to do because there's so many people who have a background in digital marketing and sales. So it's a really easy job to find, honestly. What you do want to avoid though, is if you're going to hire contractors, people who have their own agencies and they're just kind of doing closing for you on the side, you make your expectations very clear with them. And what I like to do is I actually sign a contract with them. I sign a 3-month contract with a 30-day out period that basically says, you will close for my business and produce X amount of revenue during that time. And this is what I will pay you if you do those things. And then that locks it down and makes it less ambiguous. So if you decide to go the contractor route, make sure you get something locked down. If you go the employee route, that's what I'm gonna dive into right now. Essentially, if you hire somebody, I tend to start them off at the same pay as my BDRs, essentially $25 per hour. And I actually might pay some closers higher. I might actually start them off at $35 per hour. But the idea is that you find someone who you already know can close deals rapidly. These are not setters. That's what the previous video was about. These are closers. It's a completely different type of person. But the idea is whether you pay them 25 or 35, the idea is they're feeling highly compensated and they have a clear outline of what it is they need to do in order to keep their job and scale with your company. Now, the thing is, when I first was scaling out closers, my goal was just to get people to $100,000 in pay. And I was able to do that to get people to be paid like $8 grand a month, right? That was a milestone that was great to hit, but honestly, now my sights are on how can I get people to $16,000 per month in sales. And really, that comes from not necessarily putting more meetings on their calendar. It can really come from only a couple different ways. One, upselling current customers, so trying to get them on higher paying plans and having that person be more of like an account manager. Or two, it comes from having them oversee a team of BDRs and then having that team of BDRs they oversee produce meetings for them and then also turn those people into closers that can then close for underneath that one person. They become kind of like a manager. That's how you get them to the $200,000 plus comp. And the other way you could do it, honestly, is you could just have them close bigger deals that stay for longer, and then their average ticket size goes up so much that they can then produce $2 million plus in sales, right? So those are like the 3 different ways that you can get there. So let's say that you want to go and actually, scale this closer. You lay out the map for them and you say, hey, this is exactly how you're going to get to $2 million in sales. And if you produce $2 million in sales, I will then pay you 10% of that, which is $200,000 per year in salary, right? So the way you want to do that is you want to first set a ratio they need to produce. So the ratio I use is I say you have to close 1 account every 20 hours that you work in order to be a full-time closer within my agency. And so for instance, if you are working 160 hours, that means you have to produce 8 qualified accounts every single month, right? And then if they can hit that number, they can continue scaling. Once they get to that $1 million in total revenue added, or $83,000 in monthly recurring revenue, then you can start talking about, okay, how can I scale you up as a manager? Or how can I get you to be more of an account manager so I don't have to pay for an account manager? You could just oversee these accounts and be the relationship manager on your behalf and basically make more money by being responsible for sales and churn. Or how can I get you to close higher ticket deals essentially, right? So those are the different buckets and ways you can get them to $200,000 in salary, but you first want to get them to that $1 million mark. And if you check out this here, so check out this little breakdown, right, of how the actual graphs work and everything in terms of their compensation, their ramp models and everything like that.
And so the idea with this is that we basically map out the sales compensation for the closer, and we showed them at the very beginning of working with us, this is how much money you can make. And so we have this model that we break down here, and we essentially show them, and if you're an Agency Go member, I actually make one of these for you, and I have a model here where I plug in all the calculations and the formulas, and it spits out this here. So basically our Agency Go members and our sales reps all get access to basically one of these models. And if you are an Agency Go member, you can click on the link in the YouTube description, and we can then fill one out for you based on the information that you submit. And then if you're not an Agency Go member, you can actually just sign up at grow.agencygo.io, and then you'll be able to actually get one of these made for you. But essentially the idea is that we map this out for the closer. Here's the average MRR of every deal that's closed. Here's the churn. So it's called a waterfall chart that shows the churn or the retention of certain clients over time. So basically that first cohort that comes in, you might've seen this in Stripe. It shows this typically, that first cohort that comes in, 50% of them lasts at the end of the year, let's say, and this adjusts based on people's retention over a year. It takes into consideration the average net profit of every account, the quota. So let's say if they work 20 hours in a given month, they might produce $2,500 in sales that month. And so then that maps it out over a year. And so this is the production of a rep who comes in. It can produce $1 million in sales in a given year, the net profit on that, the return, the investment, and then you could see like the monthly draw on that. So like I talked before, this is one of my favorite charts because it shows how much money you'd basically be paying somebody at ramp when that person's commission starts to grow. And then this draw represents the net amount between the investment and the commission. They're getting paid this red once this yellow crosses this threshold, right? So then now they can see that if they do this and they produce $1 million in sales, they can see that they're going to have essentially that year, they'll be making $80,000 that year, and their monthly commission will be $11,000. And the reason we map this out is because it shows what their net pay is at the end of the year. I mean, gross pay before taxes and everything like that. And so hopefully this makes a lot of sense to you, and hopefully this is something that you're interested in applying to your business. I definitely hope this video has been valuable for you. Thank you so much for watching.
The opportunities that came up for me in specific, but also for our community in general, has just freaking hit that hockey stick, right? Yeah. When did I jump on?
Ready to scale your agency? Join our 200-member agency community today and learn everything you need to know to scale your business and add $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue guaranteed.